So, one of the things that is completely unsuspecting about the entrepreneur journey, especially for women that go from corporate to entrepreneur, is just how much vulnerability starts to surface. When you're successful, you know how to deliver, you know how to make things happen, you know how to get the results accomplished. But when you step into entrepreneurship, it seems to like change the perspective of what's required of you. And one of the things that many of the women seemingly struggle with is the fact that they're used to commanding the room, they're used to holding presence. But when they step into entrepreneurship, the entire game has changed and they are left feeling a bit insecure, a bit uncertain, and a bit unresolved. And so, what I want to talk today about is this whole notion and perspective that we didn't realize what would be required of us when we put ourselves out there. And it's making us contend with a great deal of vulnerability that we didn't even recognize that we had. Our strength shows up in the way that we are able to deliver and make things happen. Our accomplishments speak of our ability to drive results. But when you step into the space of entrepreneurship, it requires you to do more than deliver. It requires you to make your value visible. And I know that sounds a little strange because you're used to success. You're used to making things happen. But making your value visible is something that was not I would say it was not one of the key things you had to do because your environment had a lot of assumptions in it. A lot was assumed because of your title. A lot was assumed because of the org structure. A lot was assumed because of the deference that was given to you. And so really trying to ensure that your value was visible wasn't necessarily one of the things you had to do. It was just assumed. You were the leader, and everyone looked to you to see what you had to say, see what you thought, see what direction you gave. It just was assumed with your role. But when you start putting yourself out there in the entrepreneur realm, vulnerability feels even harder than leading a room. It feels more difficult than showing up and embodying everything that has driven your success today. Entrepreneurship removes that container, the one that we got used to operating within. And now your ideas, your voice, your perspective, they have to stand on their own, not because you had the title, but on their own, not because of the org structure, but on their own. And we are not used to that. So the vulnerability that we feel, it really comes from being in this new space, completely unfamiliar with the rules of engagement that happen here. It doesn't show up because you're less capable. It just is showing up because the authority that you're used to having is no longer buffered or maintained by the system you're used to operating in. So this isn't a confidence issue, even though it reeks some of the same symptoms. It seems like you aren't sure what to say, and that unsettledness makes you think you have a confidence problem, but that's not what's going on. It's just the context of your world has changed. What I want to help you to do is begin to understand how to reframe your authority. Your authority is still valuable. Your credibility is still good. You don't need to go through a process of proving yourself. You just need to reframe your authority for entrepreneurship. And this is actually something that I spend a great deal of time talking with my clients about as they make that move from corporate to entrepreneur. Visibility feels like exposure because you're not used to bringing your value to the surface in the way that entrepreneurship needs. When you realize you know how to do it, when you realize the muscle you've built just needs to be reimagined, it just needs to be reframed for this new context and world that you're in, it will feel like leadership again. And that's the key. You know how to operate as a leader, so reframing is going to help you understand how to lead in this new space. And so I want to offer you a very special opportunity to join me as I unpack more of this and help you to understand what's happening from corporate to entrepreneur. It's not about coming up with scripts. It's not about coming up with checklists. It's not even about coming up with frameworks and methodologies to try to help you feel more confident. That's not the issue. What needs to happen is you have to begin to reframe your authority. You are still strong. You still know exactly what to do. Your value is not diminished. It just needs reframing. So I want to invite you to join me for Reframe Your Authority. This is an incredible masterclass experience that I am hosting for 2 nights. I have been working on the content that I am going to be sharing, and I am telling you, I would be light years ahead if I would have had someone feeding to me what I am going to feed to you. It's going to be a game changer because it's going to unlock all of the confusion and all of the misunderstanding about what's happening as you make this pivot. When you're looking at sales and you're looking at marketing and you're looking at some of the core things that they require around value and visibility and how to do that, you're not struggling because of any incapability. You're struggling because you need to reframe your authority. Now, this opportunity is going to be on Monday, January 26th and 27th. I am getting ready for the next cohort of women that I am going to take through. It is an experience that will change the game for you. And I want to introduce this whole perspective, which is unlike anything you've heard anywhere, on those 2 days. And then I want to invite you to take steps forward to really begin to shift how you show up so that you can drive impact and income. And so, as I've been doing on these segments, I want to give you the 5 thoughts to carry with you. The first one for you is leading a room is familiar. Leading from identity is what's new. Leading a room is familiar, but leading from identity is what's feeling new to you. Familiarity feels safe, and that's why you think you need to go back. But what you need to do is press in. The new expressions of your authority feel exposing until they're grounded. And we're going to talk about how to ground them with reframing your authority. Number 2, corporate leadership came with that container, but entrepreneurship removes the walls, but it does not remove your capability. You are not starting over. I want to disrupt that thought. Many people think when they're making that pivot from corporate to entrepreneur that they are starting over, but you are not starting over. Number 3, vulnerability isn't weakness. It's unbuffered authority. So the weakness that you're feeling is not exactly what it is. Vulnerability is not that. It feels the same, but it's not that. It just means you need to shore up your authority in a new way. You are being visible without a title that's doing the talking for you, and that is causing the discontent. That is causing the uneasiness. Number 4, visibility feels risky when authority isn't framed yet. And that's the problem. That's the problem we're going to address. And you're going to get some strategies on how to really shore up things so that the confidence that you feel in the boardroom is the same confidence that you're going to feel in your business. Clarity turns exposure into leadership. Let me say that again. Clarity turns exposure into leadership. And that's where we're going to go deeper. We're going to make sure you get clarity. And finally, number 5, you're not less powerful. You're more personally present. And that is key. The thing about power is it makes you think that you're present. When you are in those settings and you've got all of those other aspects that I talked about before working for you, it makes you feel powerful. But that can exist even without your presence. But when you shift to entrepreneurship, it is about you being personally present. You are the introduction, and that presence requires a new way of standing. You've got to stand differently. So this isn't about becoming someone new. It really is about leading without the armor of corporate. And we're going to go deeper into this. It's going to be a very empowering and powerful experience on Monday. Registration is absolutely free. All you need to do is go to www.ReframeYourAuthority.live. Come in the room, and I guarantee you will have so much insight that pours out to you and helps to further you in your success. It's been so great checking in with you. This is an intentional effort by me to make sure that my face and voice are something you can recognize. It is important in this season to show up with great authenticity, and that is why I'm coming in with these messages to enlighten and support you. I'll see you next time.